Power Rangers Dino Fury Season 2 is the current airing season of Power Rangers that is exclusive to Netflix for 2022. So far, we haven't seen a ton of merchandise for Season 2. We've kind of seen our first wave of stuff, which is going to be, for the most part, the bulk of the Season 2 toy line finally start making it out in stores or online. But we have some new figures to talk about, which I did not expect them to do another wave of Dino Fury figures. But thanks to some leaks and some leaked listings, it does look like we're going to be getting at least 4 more figures this fall. Plus, a couple of other fun little trinkets to talk about. So let's talk about some new news for Dino Fury Season 2 toys. So far, when it comes to Dino Fury Season 2 toys, we've seen the Dino Knight Morpher, we've seen the Terra Freeze and most of Razor Zords finally be released in stores, and we've seen they're starting to trickle out to Walmarts right now, and Amazon a little bit, Wave 3, or technically Season 2 basic figures Wave 1. However you want to label it, I'm going to label it as Wave 3. So this wave is slowly starting to release. People have been finding it in at least Walmarts, I believe, and I'm still currently trying to look for it and try to find the whole wave. I think actually the first figure of that wave is going to be arriving here today from Amazon, which is going to be the Easy figure with the sleeve armor. But basically, we weren't sure if this was going to be the end of the Dino Fury basic figure line, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be, because we have some pretty fun information about some upcoming figures, which is not super surprising, but they are really cool choices for figures, and I'm excited to get all 4 of these. A couple of them in the wave a little bit more than others, but let's go and talk about Wave 4. So a couple of days ago on Instagram, the account HioHan16 just randomly posted some photos of some at least maybe prototypes, but at least pretty far along, if they are prototypes, figures for the Dino Fury toy line that has not been announced yet. So they posted one picture that had 2 figures we had not seen whatsoever, which was for Lord Zedd and the Terra Freeze armor on the Blue Ranger. So what's really interesting about these is, first of all, another Blue Ranger with another one of the armors. Now, it doesn't look like Hasbro's going to release all of the armors, which is definitely unfortunate because it doesn't look like we're going to get the Lightning armor for the Gold Ranger. It doesn't look like we're going to get the Packy armor. There's also, which other one was there? There's the Raptor armor that it doesn't look like we're going to get. We did get one armor so far, and that was the Blaze armor, or the Flame armor, or whatever they called it, which was released in that special 2-pack that came with a Void Knight figure and a sort of show-accurate version of the cycle that he gets in Season 2. But basically, this was the only way to get this armor, and it is detachable. You can put it on, you can even put it on the Lightning Collection one if you really want to, but you can take it off and you can put it on other basic figures on the line. And because of that, it wasn't a complete show-accurate thing. It didn't have the gauntlets that this armor is supposed to have, but it at least was a solid attempt at getting this one out. And it looks like they're going to be getting at least one other one out with this Terra Freeze one on the Blue Ranger. And I know from New Soldier, I think the Blue Ranger is kind of the most associated with this one. I know they can swap around and everything. I know Red has used it before as well. And we can see the same thing going on here where it doesn't have the gauntlet pieces or anything like that on here. Now, at first, we were not 100% sure, where these were coming from. We still don't really know where they're coming from, or when there's going to be official promo images and stuff of them out there. We didn't even have listings for these at the time. We do now, but basically, we can also see here that the helmet still has the silver paint that's not supposed to be there, which was fixed for a running change later on when the figure got re-released as part of the Wave 2 assortment, and it was also fixed in the Amazon 5-pack, so I don't understand how it's going backwards to being messed up again. But then again, that honestly lends more credence to these being 100% legitimate, which obviously they look so official, there's no way that they're not legitimate, but it even adds more credence to that because of course Hasbro would somehow go back and mess it up again. I don't understand it, but basically I think it looks pretty solid. Obviously it's going to be that same kind of rubbery sort of plastic that was on this one, and I'm sure you're going to be able to swap it around. Now, is this going to close the door on us getting the other ones, the other armors? Maybe. I mean, we don't even know if we're going to get any more boost sleeves, which I assume we're probably not. And I have to assume, since I wasn't even expecting a Wave 4 of figures, or technically a Season 2 Wave 2, I definitely am not expecting any more basic figures after this, unless they do more of those cycle sets or vehicle sets that come with figures like this to get you to buy it again. It's certainly possible. But of course, you probably already saw here in the photo, Lord Zedd. And this figure looks pretty solid. I think that it's pretty cool that we're going to be getting a basic figure of Lord Zedd. A lot of people saw this one coming a couple of months ago because there was like promo artwork that was released for Season 2 or just for Dino Fury in general that showed Lord Zedd, since he does appear in the first season of Dino Fury, and it showed him in the kind of artwork style that we see on the packaging for the basic figures. And so when we saw that, we're like, oh, well, we're probably going to get a basic figure of Lord Zedd. And in fact, I was predicting he was going to be the villain figure of Wave 3, and it ended up being the henchman, which I'm totally cool with. I really, really wanted us to get a henchman figure, so I'm really happy that we're getting that, and I'm also really happy that we're also still getting Zedd. Now, as far as I'm aware, which I'm going to be just honest here, I have not watched any of Dino Fury Season 2. I haven't even finished Season 1, but I do know that Zedd is in Season 1, and I don't think he's been in Season 2 yet, and I don't know if it's necessarily been confirmed that he is coming back, but I would say that this is pretty big confirmation that he will return again if he's going to be getting a basic figure at the very end of the toy line. Or maybe he just doesn't. Now, my only complaints with this figure, I have a couple of nitpicks. First of all, we don't see his staff in any of these pictures, but I'm sure he's going to come with the staff. But what's interesting is that I feel like this still doesn't really depict his Dino Fury appearance, because if you've seen Lord Zedd or how he looks like in Dino Fury, he doesn't quite look like he did back in the Mighty Morphin days. He's definitely a little bit more bulkier. He's got a tiny little bit of a redesign to certain parts of his armor, and it's enough to like justify another figure. I would say even in the Lightning Collection, it's enough to justify another figure of Zedd existing. But like, I just don't think that this definitely captures the Dino Fury appearance of him. It still does make it a little bit different from his typical Mighty Morphin appearance, but honestly, this figure, and especially in its plastic color, makes me think of this, which was a Megaforce little blind bag that came out back in 2013. Just the plastic color of this guy, and which actually this is a re-release of a figure from the Mighty Morphin 2010 toy line, so it's technically from that first. But like, it makes me think of something like this, where it's kind of a cheaper looking Zedd and everything, and not the greatest looking Zedd. I will definitely pick it up for sure, because I do think it's cool to get a basic figure of Zedd, but obviously I don't think it's as good as the Lightning Collection version of him, which is obviously based off his Mighty Morphin appearance, and this one I guess is supposed to technically be his Dino Fury appearance. I just wish that it was a little bit more different and a little bit more show accurate to Dino Fury's Zedd appearance. And for a couple of days, this seemed to be it in terms of Dino Fury basic figure leaks. However, Martian Ranger on Twitter, who's been known to find listings and stuff like I do for Lightning Collection, confirmed that there were listings, and I don't know where the listings came from. I still don't exactly know where the listings came from. I haven't been able to find them myself. But whenever he posts any listings and stuff, they're definitely always reliable to hear about and know that they're probably going to be real. So we saw, or he said, that there was listings for the Zedd figure and for the Terrafreeze armor, which confirmed that that leak was for legitimate figures. But he also found two other listings to round out the wave, one for Void King and one for another Gold Ranger of some kind. And so for a couple of days, we were kind of just sitting there going, okay, well, we're going to get a Void King figure, we're going to get another Gold Ranger figure. Which versions are they going to be? What are they going to look like? And we really didn't have to wait too long, because that same Instagram account came back this past weekend and just posted photos of those other two figures as well. So, but basically this figure once again shows off, or this picture once again shows off, the Terrafreeze Blue Ranger, and then it shows the Noble Lee's armor from Rue Soldier, which I don't think has a name for Dino Fury yet, but it shows it on the Gold Ranger. Definitely looks pretty bulky, but I assume it's pretty bulky because I assume you're going to be able to take it off and give it to the other Rangers, because this was another armor that was swapped around. Underneath looks to be the same Gold Ranger figure from Wave 2, but it does come with the Russo Caliber, or whatever we're going to call it over here. But I guess this does confirm that we are going to see this armor in the show. I think we saw it in that one, not really flash forward, it was like a flashback to the old Dino Fury team, where we saw that big shot of all of their arsenal in like the first episode or second episode or whatever of Season 1, where it spoiled kind of the Gold Ranger, it spoiled the armors, because it was a shot from a later Rue Soldier episode. So it was pretty obvious that we were going to get this armor. I don't think it's shown up in Dino Fury yet. I definitely think, because it showed up at the end of Rue Soldier, so I think it's definitely a a back half of Season 2 kind of thing. But it is cool that we're going to be getting a figure of this, because it's also going to be cool that we're going to get a little 6-inch, scaled version of whatever we call the Russo Caliber. And, it's kind of, this armor, I think Red used it first, but I definitely associate it more with a power-up for Gold, so this is definitely cool that he's going to be the one that gets it, and I'm sure you're going to be able to swap it around just like anybody else. And then finally for this wave, we have the Void King figure, and this one looks pretty cool. Obviously, it's definitely a little bit more of a involved sculpt and everything. You get the swords. This kind of style for the figure definitely makes me think of something. I think it was like a Happy Meal toy I had. There was like a Happy Meal toy that I had of like Danny Phantom, I think, or something like that, that had like kind of a ghost translucent whitish plastic for it, and this is kind of the effect that I'm getting off of this one. But this is really cool, because I definitely wanted more villain figures in the toy line. I wish we were going to be getting, you know, things like Mucus and stuff like that. But unfortunately we're not, at least as far as we are aware. We're going to be getting Void King, but that means half the wave will be, you know, villains. So you get one more armor to use, just a random Blue Ranger figure. You get a power-up armor with gold, you get Lord Zedd, and you get Void King. I think that's a pretty solid wave here, so I really cannot wait for these figures to come out. I really did not expect any of them to exist, let alone a whole entire wave of figures. And I have to imagine this will probably be the last Dino Fury wave. I cannot see them doing another wave after this, even though there's definitely stuff that they could do. We don't know if they're going to adapt Russo Brown, and they already have the Void Knights, you know, mold and everything, which granted, I've already had to buy the mold twice, because I bought the, you know, 2-pack with the bike, and I bought the original Wave 2 release, so they already have the mold if they want to do a Russo Brown, if it's going to show up. I don't know if it's going to, but I still have one that I would like to customize into a Russo Brown at some point, which that's later down the line. But like, I'm always down for more figures in the Dino Fury line. I've always loved Hasbro's basic figures. I loved them during Beast Morphers. I love them here for Dino Fury because of the fact that it gets us characters that Lightning Collection isn't quite ready to get to, or may never get to. They're reasonably articulated, they're reasonably painted, they're pretty nicely detailed, and they do scale with the Lightning Collection, so they do look really nice next to the Lightning Collection if you have both figure lines. And they're, you know, half the price. So I do definitely like these figures a lot, and I'm going to be buying every single one of the basic figures that Hasbro makes for any Power Ranger season, mainly because of the fact that they scale with Lightning Collection. But yeah, I'm really excited for these. I have no word at all of when these are going to actually go live for pre-order, or when people are going to find them, or when they're even going to release. Like I said, we're only now seeing Wave 3 of the figures, so I'd have to imagine that Wave 4, which I'm assuming is what these have to be, Wave 4 would be probably like not until September, October, probably something around that. Hopefully they're reasonably easy to find. I know sometimes the last wave of Power Rangers figures for a season is kind of the hardest one to find, so I don't necessarily think that was exactly the case for Beast Morphers. I think people were able to find the end of the Beast Morphers toy line relatively easily, but hopefully these are not super difficult for people to find, so people can get them if they want them. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments about them. And also, is there any figures that Hasbro doesn't seem to be doing that you would really like to see them do? Because like I said, we never got Mucus, or some of the armors, or some of the bigger armors, or there's a lot of stuff that they could have done, and maybe still will do somehow, that I'd love to see Hasbro, why I said this so weird, I would love to see Hasbro tackle. And then before I wrap it up today, we do have a couple of other Dino Fury Season 2 toys that have kind of been found recently. So this first one was found by Ranger Select from Amazon Canada, and it is the Power Rangers Spiral Strike Red Ranger. So this looks to be some kind of special, bigger figure of the Dino Knight armor. It basically seems to be a glorified version of one of the battle attackers, where it has the little lever to make it do something. So it's basically that, although I think for this one you squeeze the legs potentially. So this definitely is using the plastic-free packaging, that's for sure. You can definitely see that you can pretty much just hold this entire figure in its box. So no idea when this is coming out or how much it's going to cost. It's $50 on Amazon Canada, and that's obviously not going to be the thing. Actually, Amazon Canada has it listed for October 1st, 2022, so it's definitely part of the fall assortment of stuff. And there's probably other Dino Fury toys that we just don't know about yet, that hasn't been found or hasn't been announced or anything. But for the most part, I don't really care about the kind of extra trinket stuff like this. I just care about the basic figures and I guess the Zords. But speaking of the Zords, if you do want to get some of the Zords in a big multi-pack again, they are going to be doing another Amazon exclusive multi-pack of Zords. So last year they did the 5 main Zords that could combine, into the big combination and everything, and it was just a way to get every Zord released at that point. And if you know, we're going to be getting, well, we just recently got the second wave of Zords, which is the Terra Freeze Megazord, the Mosa Rex, or the Mosa Razor Megazord, and another repack of the T-Rex Champion Zord. So I've already done a review of the Terra Freeze, and I will be doing a review of the Mosa Razor this upcoming weekend, I believe, is when it's supposed to arrive from Amazon. But if you want to wait and you just want to get the 3 Megazords that make up the components of the Primal Ultra Zord, you're going to be able to do that again. It's not available just in stock yet, but I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But they are going to be doing an Amazon 3-pack of the Primal Ultra Zord components. Now, for any information about any other Zords, there is absolutely no listings of us getting the Packy. There's no listings of us getting the Raptors. None of that at all. It doesn't seem like Hasbro is going to do any more Zords beyond this, which is extremely unfortunate because they skipped a lot of Zords that I would have really liked to see them do. Even if they did them in like multi-packs together, I think that could have worked. You could have done like Demi Volcano, whatever we call it over here, with like, I don't know, the Packy, and then you could have done like the Raptors as a set or something. I really would have liked to see them because I think that the Zordlink line is relatively fun, and would have liked to make a bunch of combinations and a bunch of stuff from the show that we see them do that you cannot make in the Dino Fury toy line. You can only make them in the Ryusoulger toy line. And it's just unfortunate that Hasbro is now 2 seasons in a row not completed the Zord line, because we all know we never got the Beast X Keen Zord from the Beast Morphers toy line, even though kind of the whole back half of the Season 2 Beast Morphers toy line revolved around things related to the Beast X Keen Zord, but we never got the Teishi the Zord itself. It's just kind of strange, but it just kind of seems how Hasbro handles their Power Rangers toy lines, at least for the basic, mainline show stuff. Alright, well that's going to do it for today. I just wanted to talk about some new Dino Fury Season toy listings and pictures and a bunch of stuff that was found and leaked recently. So still has a little bit of life left in this toy line, definitely a little bit more than I was expecting. And stay tuned on the channel for reviews of the Mosa Razor Zord coming up here, and also stay tuned for reviews of the basic figures Wave 3, as I do hope to finally get the entire wave of that pretty soon. They look pretty good. Definitely excited for those, and I'm very excited for this next wave of basic figures whenever we'll be able to pre-order them or whenever they're going to be found. Obviously, these toy lines don't work the same way as like Lightning Collection. They don't necessarily announce these things during a big fan first event or anything like that. They sometimes really don't even announce them at all. They just kind of show up somewhere. The mainline toy lines never get the kind of big announcements that Lightning Collection does, because that's a whole different beast of a toy line. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below about anything I talked about today for the Dino Fury Season 2 toy line. What do you want to see Hasbro do that we don't know any information about them doing, especially with figures and stuff? And also, of course, the Zords. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down below. And are you guys going to pick any of this stuff up? Because like I said earlier, I'm definitely going to get some of it. So until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or at LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all next time.